Everyone thinks because you're a zombie, you don't know good coffee. Well, they're wrong. There's only one brew that gets my seal of approval. Deadly Grounds coffee is my guilty pleasure. The aroma is so intoxicating. It brings all of my neighbors out of the woodwork. Deadly Grounds coffee. Coffee to die for and zombie approved. It's good to get a little deadly. Use the front door! Oh, they're so disgusting.
Hey everybody, it's Tuesday night. Time for another live Wicked Horror Show. I'm Kevin, and as always, I'm joined by Tony Has Nine Fingers.
What is going on, people?
And this week, we're talking to the people behind Deadly Endings, the director and writer of the movie, as well as a bunch of the cast. I'm going to start it off with the director. So we have Richard first. How you doing, Rich?
Doing good. Glad to be here.
Do you like Rich, or do you like
either is fine. Whatever you remember.
And returning, we have Daniel John Kearney. How you doing, Dan?
What's up, everybody?
Yeah, it's been a busy time for you guys. You guys have been making some awesome stuff, and we're happy to have you back. We have Jeff. Now, Jeff, you're in Massachusetts, right?
Yeah, so I reside in New Hampshire, but pretty much from Massachusetts, Lowell.
Nice. I'm in Mass as well.
I got the thick accent I could never get rid of when I moved to it. It's in New Hampshire. So
nice.
But
yeah, I'm in Central Mass. I'm right outside of Worcester, unfortunately for everyone. And then he just popped in during the intro. Yeah, Worcester dude. We have Chaney's here. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Welcome back. It's been a while.
It is, man. How you been?
Not bad. Good to see you. And
Steve?
the other guy that we had in, he dropped out. I don't know if he has a bad connection. He tried to come back in, and his camera wasn't loading. So we have some other people that are going to be jumping in. Actually, Lucas is trying to get back in right now, but we have.
This always does that.
I'm sorry if I'm saying it wrong. We have Chanda.
Yeah.
I apologize if I'm mispronouncing your name. But welcome to the show.
Chanda, you there?
Can you hear us? I don't know if she can.
You not have the volume turned up, maybe.
And then we have Lucas. He's coming back in. There he is. Yeah, Lucas, can you hear us?
No. It's a bit frozen. So.
Okay. So either way, so yeah, we want to talk about Deadly Endings. So Richard, you wrote this movie.
Yes.
It's a horror anthology, which the world needs more good horror anthologies.
That is true.
Yeah, a lot of the ones that are out there, there's a lot of good and there's some not so great. So the one good thing is that we've already seen some stuff that some of these awesome people have been involved in, and I have pure confidence that it's going to be awesome. So do you want to talk a little bit about your ideas? And
it's very effects driven. Everyone that read it knew that, especially Dan, was like, this is really gonna, rely on that, as well as the stories were really compelling. Originally, I had the concept for two of the stories. There's three of them. And the one I kind of came up with at the last minute, but the other ones I had them originally written as shorts that I was just planning to go do. So I had to kind of extend those out a little bit to make them, fit in a 90-minute capacity.
Mm-hmm. Nice. And so was it something that did you approach? Did they approach you, or did you approach them?
Jeff had received my script, and I have worked with Dan before. And Jeff was like, Dan, you got to read this. And Dan, as busy as he was for, I think 2 weeks, was like, I'll get to it, and stuff. And Jeff just kept bugging him. He's like, no, you got to read this. This is great. This is going to be huge. And then Dan read it. And not only did he want to come in as an actor, he's like, I'm coming in to produce. I believe in it that strongly. So he jumped fully in after he was able to read it.
That's awesome.
If I could just piggyback off what he was saying there, and that's the honest God truth, and it wasn't. And he's being nice. It wasn't 2 weeks. It was like a month. And
Yeah, it would
so
be nice.
I really did want to read it though. His life was crazy sometime, and but when I read it, and I owe it all to Jeff, because Jeff was like, Dan, just effing read it. And I read it, and I wanted to, because I love Rich, because we did a film called Blood Fight together, and I was like, I finished it, and as soon as I put it down, I texted Rich, I texted Jeff, and I was like, let's do this, because I just really believed in it, and I'm very excited about it. And we have just an amazing cast. We have Chanda's on now, and Lucas is here too, and just we have such a great involvement with some of the best independent horror actors that I know and I love, and we're really building something really special. So Rich is right. It's really well written, and it's very special effects driven, but anybody can do it. It's everybody we know.
Nice. So just real quick, we have a couple people in the chat. We have Sergio, who's always here saying what's up to everyone. And then we have someone who I believe is also on the cast. We have Amy Rolfson.
Amy, all right.
Yeah, she's no stranger to the show. We've had her on before. She's awesome. And we have Doug. I don't know if you guys know Doug, but he's saying, hey, everyone.
Hey, Doug.
Joshua saying, lots of familiar faces, killing it. And yeah, so for now, that's that. But so yeah, that's the thing. I never know. I never remember who's been on the show. I thought that Jeff had been on the show before, because I've seen his face in IMDb and stuff like that. So I assumed that he had been on. Now, Chanda, if I'm saying it wrong, I apologize. Have you been on the show before?
I have not been on the show before.
See, same deal. I was like, I think she's been on before. I'm not positive. I'm the worst. I'm truly.
It's all good. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you. And I do have a T-shirt that shows that I'm the worst. It just says that I'm the worst on it.
We're both long
I feel
time.
like I need one of those too.
It's and it was made specifically for me. And then there's a neighboring shirt that says Kevin is the worst that you can also get. But yeah, so it's you guys want to talk a little bit about so it's an anthology. Is there a wraparound story as well, or is it just X amount?
No, there's not really a common thread. They stand pretty much isolated. There's a vampire one, there's a zombie one, and then there's one that has to do with the demon. And in writing it, whereas like more traditional storylines, kind of like the vampire or the zombie, we know it's kind of like old hat, like it's like the zombie does this, it eats brains, it's trying to get into the building or whatever. The vampires, they do their thing, and it's kind of always in the same mold. What I did a little bit different on this is I put like a different perspective on it, where you kind of see that some of the people, like the humans, are almost just as much of a monster in their own right as to what they do in the segments is the monster itself. So as Dan says, it has to do with the human condition. It is 100% that.
Nice.
It has a very human social stance on different things, and it's different. It's much different than what you'd expect from an anthology film. Very entertaining though.
Nice. And just real quick, Jamie Hill's in the chat. I had mentioned Jamie to Dan recently. She was I was kind of bragging about her a little bit because she's a friend of the show. She was just on the Rolling Stone. She was in Skinamarink, and Skinamarink was just on the Rolling Stone like top movies of the year.
Yeah,
it's also Esquire's top movie of the year. So congratulations, Jamie. It's awesome.
Yeah, congrats.
Congrats, it's amazing.
Absolutely, congratulations.
For a movie that cost so little to make, it made a big bump. That's good. Sergio's already asking,
everybody.
Yeah, Sergio's already asking if we have a trailer. The movie hasn't been made yet, Sergio. But when it does get made, we will have a trailer. So now you guys already know your parts. You already know like who you're playing. Can you maybe talk a little bit about your characters?
Sure, Chaney. Did you want to start that off?
Yeah, sure. I guess he said there's 3 different tales. I won't say which one I'm in exactly. to not to ruin it. But like you said, it's deals a lot with the human condition. If I could sum it up, my character and his story and his existence is, now I'm not sure who said this exactly, but I'm paraphrasing. A great change or a revolution, if you will, doesn't happen when you're so bad off. It happens when you get a little taste of something better, like when it's a possibility to get more. That's when a real change is made, and it can be for the better, it could be for the worse, but it's a part of the human way, just the way we kind of do things, our reactions to things, from victim to hero, victim to villain, or hero to villain. That's what interested me so much about that one in particular. And Dan is my dude. When he got a hold of me about this and suggested I read it, I read it. I liked it a lot. And he told me that some of the other names attached, and I like all of them. It's kind of like a reunion, because a big chunk of the cast, we've worked together several times now, and it's like a crew to me, and I love it. It's like a club.
Yeah.
Not like the Brat Pack or the Frat Pack. It's like the Scream Team or something. You know what I mean? You can't think of a better phrase.
It's more appropriate. Yeah, I agree.
You know what I mean? But that's what I dig about it. It's very centered around the human psyche. And we factor in supernatural elements, and who doesn't love a good, a good anthology flick? Like you said earlier, there's so many of them, and some are good or some are bad, but when they're good, man, we remember them.
Yeah.
Like we remember them when they're done correctly, and I think we got that here. So
yeah, nice.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, I am too. Like I truly love a good anthology. And like there's even some that like maybe there's one story in it that will like kill it, and that'll still like I'll watch it just for that one story, And because the reason I asked about a wraparound story is because sometimes if they're included in that, I have to watch the whole movie because even if I don't like the other stories that are involved, because it's the wraparound is part of it, But again, like there's a lot that they try to do for a while, like ABC's of Death, stuff like that. There's just a lot to that, and unfortunately, there's a lot of not great mixed in with some really good. But they just try to bite off more than they can chew sometimes, and I think you keep it simple. Don't go too crazy. Don't have one for every letter of the alphabet.
Yeah,
and it all goes back. It all goes back to the material itself, the script, the story itself.
Right.
I think if it's so solid, we stick to that. It's golden. You know what I mean?
Right.
So,
and Chaney does have
very little
one of the
fat,
most difficult roles.
very little fat in each one. They're all three. They all hit pretty hard, and they're all very distinctly separate. But I think it's got it can leave a hell of an effect.
Nice.
When we do it correctly.
Awesome. Yeah. I'm looking forward to it for sure. What about Jeff? Let's talk to Jeff. What are you without giving too much away about who you're going to be playing in the movie?
I play a character. His name is Dunk, and I'm not sure how much I can get into it, but I am. What I probably can say is let's see, Rich, how far can I go with this?
You could say what your position is to one of the other characters,
Right. So I'm gonna be working alongside who's not here for this podcast, but hopefully maybe we can get him on again if we do another one, which I hope we do. Nick Principe, who was Chrome Skull in Laid to Rest 1, and I'll be alongside with him. It's a very the segment that I'm in. Dunk is let's see.
He's a soldier for a drug dealer.
Yeah. I'm kind of a gangster Joe Dirt in a way. That's about as
Pretty
much as I
that's
can.
an amazing way to describe it. Yes,
A badass, you know.
Yeah.
the horror version of
But I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be the segment that we're doing. All I can really is not. I've read all 3 stories front to back. I mean, they're all unique in their own way, but this one here is completely wild and bonkers. And you know, we're gonna fit a lot in 30 minutes, and it's just I mean, there's going to be a lot of blood. That's all I can say. And it's going to be a wild time. And, you know, but like I said, all 3 stories they're different. And that's what I love about this. And also, if I could just say, a lot of times when I hear people say like, oh, well, you know, they didn't develop this character. They didn't develop this character enough. What Richard has done with these 3 stories in 30 minutes or less is all the lead characters. They're very, very heavy, and you get to just find out about these people and what they're all about. And Rich does a really good job in writing and developing these leads and co-leads in these 3 stories.
Nice.
And to piggyback what Chaney was saying previously, we all feel here, this is going to be in heavy rotation. Like when October's creeping around, get my faves in. I need to watch this. I need to watch that. We want Deadly Endings to be in your rotation, and we feel it's going to be.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. Yeah, we you know, I'm always looking to add to the rotation. I'm sure Tony is as well. You know,
100%.
I've recently like been seeking out new Christmas themed horror movies to add to the rotation. So because some of the other ones are getting a little bit old. But just real quick before I want to go over to I'm going to say it wrong. How do you say your name?
Chanda.
Chanda. Okay. I'm sorry.
No worries.
I work in collections and I Google people's names because I know I'm going to mispronounce it. So I Google it and I listen how it, and then I still mispronounce it. But just real quick, because they've been in the chat. But Life is Pain is in the chat. He's from overseas. I forget, he's in the UK somewhere. He's in the chat saying what's up. So it's like really early in the morning for him. So what's up, Life is Pain? Got Mom Zombie in the chat saying hello, everyone. Jerks Productions. He's awesome as well. He had a new movie that just came out called Asia. That's really good. He's out of Philly. Doug is saying, yeah, Dunk. So there you go. Yeah, Dunk. Crystal. I don't know if that's your real name, but she's clapping. And Amy's saying, as a horror actress, it's one of the funniest scripts I've read. Richard killed it on the writing, and this cast is loaded with talent. I agree. Indie horror continues to take over. I also agree with that.
100%.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Incredible.
That means so much.
Yeah. So Chanda.
Yeah,
Is that that's how you say it?
Yep, Chanda.
Okay. All right. So what do you what can you say about your character and maybe a little bit what you're planning on doing with your character?
Gotcha. Unfortunately, the person that I'm going to be playing adjacent to
His internet.
his internet seems to not be working.
Yeah.
So
That's okay.
I play a character named Carla. I will be playing Lucas's wife in this, and I am absolutely thrilled to be a part of this. I cannot say much about my character. I guess maybe I'm like concerned neighbor and loving, caring trophy wife. We'll say that.
Sure.
Participation trophy. But yeah, that's kind of what I can say about Carla. She's just a very concerned, loving mother and wife.
There you go. Nice. And last but not least, Dan. What can you say about your character? And also, you just said before we went live that you guys just announced some other cast members and stuff too. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
I would love to, but first I love Chanda very much.
I love you too.
and also Lucas as well. And so so as far as who will be announced today, Mark Patton is a dear friend of mine, and Phyllis is also a lead producer and in this film as well, and starring in it. And so Mark Patton's on board, and we're so just completely overjoyed to have him because he's incredible.
Yes.
And we did Watchdog with Mark about 18 months ago. LC, who's in Deadly Endings, wrote and directed that. So we're just so happy to get back together. So we have some good things happening. It's really good. Just ecstatic to have Mark on board, and it just keeps growing. Like, to piggyback off what Jeff said, we really do believe, especially because of the locations that we have and some of the set designs that we have, we think that this is going to be a really special film, and we're very excited for the anthology. As far as my part goes, I play a Mark, and when I read the script after they had given it to me, I was like, oh man, I was all in, full throttle. I was on the phone. I called Felissa that day. I said, 2024, we need to bring this to fruition. And we talked for like 2 hours, and we said, let's do it. And then I called Jeff and Rich and everybody, and I just loved it because I think that the character and the entire film as a whole, but for me, acting, as an actor, once I was, read that role, I was like, oh my God, I want to do this so bad. I can't give away too much, but it has a lot of different facets. But it has many different factors in it that you have to deal with, from loss, from grief, from dealing with new things coming into one's life to one thing's leaving. And on top of that, you have some really horrific scenes and very scary scenes that happen, like a demon, like Richard had just expressed before. So that's what made me so excited about it. And I think everyone's going to love it. And I just can't wait to get to work. We're all working. We're all, working hard. So we're going to make this happen for everybody. And I'm so happy to be with Chaney. And like Chaney said, our group, we have a whole big group of friends that we love to get involved, that are excellent, brilliant people. And it's like a family, brat pack, whatever you want to call it. And it's just special things are on the way.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. I say it a lot. Like, you guys have been responsible for a lot of my most anticipated movies over the last couple of years. Like, as far as independent movies go, they've been coming, with your group, and there's still a bunch that I'm waiting to see. Hopefully I can buy a physical copy of them somewhere at some point.
And
so many coming out.
And then
what was the name, Kev? What was the name that you had? Just so Chaney and Sean and Rich can hear, because I made jokes to them before. I said, what was the name that you came up with last year?
Was it the Brat Pack?
Brat Pack, or
Brat Pack or Brat Pack? I was thinking of like the whole Frank Sinatra and everything. The
Rat Pack. And then the Brat Pack was from the 80s.
Was the Brat Pack Breakfast Club?
Yeah, it was like Robert Downey Jr. and Anthony Michael Hall and stuff.
Yeah, they didn't make that many.
But we're very grateful.
But the one thing, you guys work together, and many a times have we said it.
Can we copyright the pack?
You can do whatever you like. I expect in exchange. Yes. Sorry, Tony.
No, I'm just saying that we've said it many a times that it would show on screen, where sometimes you get it if you work with your coworkers before, it just shows it's like it flows so much better. If it's new, you're meeting someone for the first time, sometimes you watch and you're like, I don't really feel the vibe between this. So being, working with someone before, what's going on, and it just off the screen, it feels that way. So
1000%.
I agree. Yeah.
So we have was it Sergio's asking who the director is. It is Richard, who's right in the center.
I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
Oh, he's one. Yeah, that's right.
We actually have Jaron Lewis
Oh,
is going to do one. We wanted to kind of break it up and look to have 3 directors on there so that we get a little bit of a different flavor. You know.
Okay. So are you only going to do one, or
yes, yes, I get to direct the wonderful Chaney over there.
All right.
I'll probably learn more from him than he'll learn from me. But,
and also Jaron will be directing the segment of One Last Shot, which is with
yourself,
myself and Mark Patton and others. And Rich is on here, so I can't speak enough wonderful things about Rich. But I do need to highlight Jaron for a moment. Jaron and I have worked together on many films together, and I love Jaron so much, and I think that he's going to bring a real wealth of knowledge and real. And he's also the cinematographer. He's going to. So I think everybody collaboratively, everyone, like you said, Tony, everybody working together so much. I think everybody just working together is going to bring something cohesive together for the product. You know.
Nice. And, sorry, go ahead, Tony.
I was gonna say you guys are excited for the script and whatever. I'm excited for the cast, just because between the cast, I think that's the last like 3 years of indie horror. Between Chanda was working with Dave Kerr in Bloody Summer Camp and Go Away. I've seen your work. Chaney just did Malum, which is the newer version of Last Shift. So that's it. And then Dan and everyone. So I mean, I'm excited for the script now that you guys are talking about it, but I'm also just excited for, it looks like you have, the horror icons like Felissa and Mark and stuff, and then the new age. Anna Clary I saw was in it. She was in Mutilator too. So I'm just excited for, the encompassing of like all indie horror in this one.
It was all part of Dan's master plan as he sits in his Dr. Evil chair. And
about to ask, where's the cat? I'm waiting to see a cat.
I see sweet innocent. No. I just, I try to just, as from a producer side and actor side and business side, we try to like really, like I said, bring all the facets together, and as far as cast goes and everybody involved, and
and we definitely
we're so grateful. We're just so great. It's
we didn't just throw people into the the fire. There was a lot of consideration, and we wanted to make sure that the quality talent that we had definitely fit the role. We didn't want to try to force like a round peg into a square hole or anything like that. So we made sure that for the sake of the stories and the integrity of the film that everything fit.
Yeah.
There was no compromising on quality at all, and any facet, and everything was really meticulously kind of developed, and Felissa and Jeff and Rich all had a huge part in that, as of course too.
Nice.
And
I think recently, Tony, that director that came on with Michael Pare, for I forget his name, but Chaney, you're in a movie. You're in one of his movies coming
Glenn
up.
Martin, you're probably talking about.
Yeah.
Martin. Mm-hmm.
Is that like a Bigfoot movie or something that's coming out, or is that the Western one? I forget which one it is that's coming out that you're in. I don't know.
but the thing is, I think that might actually.
No, it's called American Bigfoot. It's one of the first.
Oh, is it already
features
out?
I did. It was a while ago.
Oh, okay.
But I think the anthology film is going to help, because sometimes if you have too many people in like just a normal movie, sometimes it might just clutter itself too much. But I think with the anthology part of it is you can have that big of a cast, and I think it'll work perfectly where it like cuts it up into different things. So I think the anthology part of it would work perfectly.
Real quick.
Yeah, we definitely put try to evenly distribute the talent. We don't have it all front loaded or anything like that.
Yeah. Well, and you got a lot in there, so
yeah. Because there's Hannah Fairman's in it too, right? And Elsie's in it. So yeah, there's a bunch of people that are awesome. That Sergio, we've already answered the question. there's a bunch of directors. There's 3. One of them is in the center of the screen. But Doug is saying that he will see Dan and Felissa next weekend. I don't know if you guys are at a con or something. And Shannon is saying hi to Chanda. Jerks Productions is asking if the movie is out yet or if it's going into production. It's going into production, you said, next year at some point.
Yes, in June.
In June. And then Mr. Mulletman 21 is here to represent Tony's TikTok. Always good to see y'all. Good juju. He always comes on and wishes everyone good juju. We appreciate that.
Good juju in return.
Appreciate it, dude.
Exactly. We all need it this time of year. The holidays is stressful for sure. But so yeah, like we're like with, have you guys ever done anthologies before? Like I know and Dan, you haven't done one, right? Have you?
Yeah, no, and I'm so happy you're calling on me because I Richard knows this, and I think Jeff knows it too. I actually don't like anthology films.
He admitted it.
I don't like it. I don't like them.
He's not a big fan.
That's a hell of a plot
I can't
twist.
lie to you.
I feel like this was a tough sell to
never
do.
lie to you.
It's like, so that's why I expect to get not the best acting from Dan. He's trying to destroy it from within.
No. But on a serious standpoint, on a very serious standpoint, I'm not a big fan of anthology films. But when I read this, I read it not for the first time ever. I read it as not an anthology film. Because the thing with anthology films is like I never feel like you have enough time to get devoted to the characters and really care about them and really want to take them in. And you know, when you go to bed at night after you watch the movie, you're like, oh, I just feel you can't. But with this was the first I read it, and I was thinking about it nonstop, and I was like, this is unbelievable. Like this is a feature within a feature within a feature. And the way that it's crafted and the way that they have the character development and the design of the flow, you can easily feel for every single character, and the story just unveils itself every single time. And so this is an anthology film, but it reads as a feature every time you see each part of the segment. And that's what excited me so much. So when you say I haven't been part of one, I am freaking pumped to be a part of this anthology.
That's good. Hopefully it changes.
And then after this, he won't do another.
Yeah, after this, I only want to do anthologies. How about that?
One and done.
Yeah. I think you're doing yourself a disservice. Have you avoided them because of your dislike of, have you avoided checking some out?
No, I like them. Like I know, and I do. I mean, I'm not like, when I say I don't like them, I mean I don't hate them, but like I just don't go back. You know, like I look like for some anthologies I like I love Creep Show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love the original VHS, but I'm just not.
Yeah, like when I was writing this, like one of the things that I thought, and maybe this is something that everyone here on the show can knows, is that like when I was writing it, like when I watch an anthology, it's 3 films. It's like once you hit that one that isn't that good, you might just not even watch the rest of it. So it's like you may start off strong. The first one's good. The second one's moving slow. You know what? Lost interest. You're not even going to give the third one a try. So like I was really challenged to try to like captivate and keep it moving along. Keep their, like there's going to be amazing effects in it and everything that I could do to hold the attention of the viewer. Because I didn't want to have the second one be a little bit, worse or anything than the first one. Then they don't even get to see the third one, which is, they're all amazing. That was more the challenge that I had is, anybody could, duplicating success. Like, okay, I have one that's really good. What am I going to do for the second and the third one? So I'm just glad, and I don't know if it's luck or skill or whatever it is. I mean, it's going to take the whole team to pull it together and make it amazing. Not just my contribution, but was to captivate all 3 stories so that nobody's getting bored, you know, because it's like a reset button. Hey, the first story is over. That was great. But what are you going to do for me on the second one? Okay, this one sucks. I'm turning it off. I'm going to go watch, you know, Nightmare Before Christmas or something. Like, forget this.
That's not a bad choice too.
And I say that because it's not in the other room.
See, for me, it's always, I like anthologies because of the fact that each one is a little bit different. Like sometimes if you're watching just a straightforward movie and you don't like it, I tend to just lose myself in it. At least with anthologies, like, of course, in certain ones, you're always going to, I don't know what it is, but certain stories appeal to certain people a little bit more. But at least it changes. There's not that monotony of, okay, I don't like this movie. It's going to stay pretty much the same. But at least with anthology films, like, especially the newer ones that came out, like Trick or Treat or like Mortuary Collection and stuff like that, it's just like, it's so much different. The VHS ones, like each story is completely different. So I think that's why I'm more drawn to anthology films than I guess maybe some, or Daniel over here.
Yeah, not Dan.
No, that's awesome to hear. But see, I really do like the newer anthology stuff. So I all I can tell you is that this is going to feel like a feature within a feature within a feature.
Good.
Because the way it's written, and that's what excites me so much about it. And I do like anthologies,
See,
but I'm just, you know.
See, I'm not the only one who's seeing this, right? Like you had like these random things.
The fireworks.
Yeah.
What's going on over there?
Yeah.
Are you talking about my house, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let me take a look.
No.
Is that a green screen behind
You're
you? Or are you
tripping,
really
dude.
in your office?
Yeah.
Phone dimmed.
It's like-
and then
I know you lying.
It's probably the ghost I told you about. Did you see the
so
ghost?
when I had
just
to
makes
it was just
random-
on the screen, it was another word bubble with a thumbs up on it.
I saw
Yeah.
it that time.
Yeah.
It goes to the former visual effects artist.
Maybe it's your
It works for
maybe it's your
Pixar.
phone listening to what you're saying and reacting to what you're saying.
Maybe so.
Yeah, that was
I don't know
weird.
what's going on, but I'm going to watch this back later. You guys are freaking me out.
What did you?
It's your
Hey, you should. I
enthusiasm,
thought I
man.
was having a stroke.
Did you say
All I have is
It's
my,
like every time Dan thinks he says something brilliant, he hits a button so that all this stuff happens, like confetti and
applause?
Yeah,
Applause.
we are like- yeah.
all I have right here is my Shining Sisters autograph.
What is it? Oh, the Shining Sisters. Okay.
The girl from the Shining, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually I paid
what's
for an
haunted?
autograph a couple weeks ago, and it was the most I've paid for an autograph in a long time. And I've been around like a lot of the horror guys for such a long time. I don't get starstruck as much anymore. When it comes to comedy icons, in my eyes at least, I am a stumbling, mumbling something else. Let me tell you. I got to meet Dave Foley a little while back. I interviewed him from Kids in the Hall, and I was a mess. I met him again, along with Kevin McDonald from Kids in the Hall, and I did it all over again. Again, I paid a lot of money to get their autographs.
That's awesome.
The biggest dummy.
Wow.
Oh.
And so much money. It was like $80 for their autographs, but it was worth it. Anyways, Amy said something very nice. Ain't nothing boring about the anthology. This anthology, 100%. Y'all better buckle up for this one. Skull.
Correct.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely correct.
So it's going to be all like practical effects, I'm assuming.
100%.
Yeah.
Awesome. I love it.
That's what I love to hear.
Yes. Sergio always asks this as well. To the people that haven't been on the show
This
before.
is going to
which I-
have just about everything. Oh, sorry.
That's okay. I think there's a delay on the thing. But so for Jeff, Richard, and Chanda, do you have like a favorite horror movie? Do you have something that made you want to get into maybe acting in horror? Or
I think what made me want to do it is like I've mentioned it like a couple people is that my father actually was friends with Rod Serling of the Twilight Zone. And
that's amazing.
and they used to go out drinking and stuff and stuff when he was in town here. And so I would hear that, but as a kid, that Twilight Zone theme song would always scare the crap out of me. Like I would like it would come on middle of the night, and I'd rush up and get the remote. And like I'd try to get like 20 channels away, like that made any difference. I'm like, nah, I'm still too close to that channel. But like it took a while until like I actually started watching them and like appreciated them and the writing and everything like that. And it was more that aspect of, you know, it was like really, you know, psychological, like a lot of it. And, you know, at that time they couldn't really, you know, put blood and blood splatter and everything on it. So I try to get a little bit more psychological, like with the horror aspect of things to, you know, use it as entertaining. There's definitely movies that really scared the crap out of me, like as a kid, you know, and gave me nightmares for a while. Nightmare on Elm Street was definitely one of them. I probably was insomniac for some years after that. But, you know, there's a few of them. I can't really pinpoint one thing. But I can say like Twilight Zone was like one of the ones that really like pushed me to try to captivate like people,
awesome.
You know.
That's one of the things I like to have on in the background, like still. Like I'll just put it on.
Just the theme music? I was just watching it today. I'm like,
just the show.
3 episodes a day.
Yeah. No, it's great. It still holds up. Like, I mean, it's an older show, but it's still like you still see the premises from these shows being reused over and over again in other shows or other movies and stuff. So,
well, didn't Peele bring back Twilight Zone?
Yeah,
he didn't do a good job of it though.
From
what I hear.
I didn't mind it, but it's not the original. It's different. But
yeah, it's like a reboot because some of the content was the same as, you know, what it was, and it's hard to duplicate that.
Right, but in my mind, when someone does something like that, in my mind, I like to think that their intention is to like, they're just trying to get people interested in the old one so they'll go back and watch it, which I know is probably not the case, but that's the way I can justify it in my head as to why they're doing this. So Chanda, what about yourself? Is there anything that triggered you to want to get into acting and horror?
Well, I have 2 older brothers, and that's basically what we did growing up, was watch horror movies all the way through. It never really, I never thought this would be an option for me, like growing up and, you know, going into adulthood. I'm actually relatively new still in acting, and I've absolutely fallen in love with it. But if I had to choose a favorite, I'm a Friday the 13th girl. I absolutely, a lot of people don't consider it horror, but like Ghostbusters, like yes.
It's the first movie I ever bought.
Yes.
I bought on VHS. I bought Ghostbusters. It was in the big box. It opened from the side, like it was.
Yes.
It was like $35. I had to save my allowance for a very long time, because I'm also elderly. So it's
I actually saw it in the theaters. So old I am. Put the timestamp on it.
Well, I was old enough to see it in the theaters. My parents just wouldn't let me. So Ghostbusters is awesome. I enjoyed it. And there's definitely like when the taxi driver
what he
yes.
his head and whatever.
That's creepy as all get out. And then the chick in the library,
the ghost librarian, from the beginning.
See, that scared the crap out of me when I was little. Like, I was an odd kid. Yeah, that didn't change much growing up. But like, I watched it and I laughed through the whole thing and loved it. I seen the freaking ghost in the library and was terrified of it.
Yeah. So. Kids nowadays don't know anything about a card catalog. Let me tell you.
Exactly.
Jeff, what about yourself? I think I read on your IMDb something about Poltergeist. Is that the case? Wait.
Yeah. So my parents subjected me to back in the day they rented Poltergeist probably when it first went to VHS, and I still remember watching that as a child. How it's rated PG, I have no clue, but it's still to this day holds up. I feel it terrified the living tea out of me. For that being said, I have a serious fear of clowns. I will not. My mom and dad used to decorate my bedroom. I think they really wanted to torment me in real life. Posters of clowns on my wall. They think they probably thought I would enjoy that, but I'm really taking it back because I am kind of pushing 50. But
Same here.
they bought me this Weeble. You ever hear the Weeble?
Yeah, Weeble wobble, but they don't fall down. Yeah,
so they got me a clown Weeble wobble.
No.
This is like fresh.
Yeah, but that's so you can punch
There
it.
must have been a big clown phenomenon back.
Well, Bozo
They
was
stuck this.
Back when, Jeff? Back when? I don't know what you're talking about.
I didn't sleep. I was up.
Jeff, is it too late to get
Yeah,
your
so,
parents a thank you
anyway,
card?
Poltergeist. I mean, is it like one of my favorite movies? But to piggyback, I'm a big Friday the 13th guy. That's really what is put me to where I am, right now. I'm a big Kane Hodder guy. I've been fortunate to meet him a few times and actually work alongside him, and just a sweet man and just a cool guy overall. So
yeah, no, I agree. He's great. I got to interview him on set on the set of Death House, and he got to choke me out on set, and it was the highlight of my life. I'm married, I've been married for a very long time. That's still the highlight of my life. Hopefully my wife didn't hear that.
As it should.
Whoops. I don't have kids, so that's okay.
And then we had him on here for for an episode, and he started off the episode.
One of our other guys, he's much older. He saw The Exorcist in the theater when it first came out. That's how old he is. And he's got long hair. And Tony, treat our guests with the first comment out of Kane Hodder's mouth as soon as he saw our good friend, the 13th Wolfman.
So he's sitting there and he's like, who the hell is this meatloaf looking motherfucker here? So he looks like Meatloaf. So it was definitely funny.
God.
That was the first thing he sat down and said, yeah.
He loved it.
And he was only supposed to do like 15, 20 minutes. He was sick, but he, stuck it out for the entire hour-long show. And it was just awesome to sit down and talk to. It's like, you hear don't meet your, idols and stuff, but he was one of the ones that I grew up with. I'm a Friday the 13th fan too, like out of the franchises. And sitting down, he I didn't ever meet him at a con because I never really went. So that was like the second best thing. And then I finally met him in person and he was awesome too. So.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
So cool.
So with Chaney, I know you do a lot of stage acting and stuff. So you've been doing it for a long time, I'm assuming. So making the jump to horror, because you do, obviously you can act your ass off. It's word on the street. I was picking something up down the street and some dude's like, "Yeah, you heard of this dude named Chaney?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know."
I knew him. He fucking owes me $50.
He can act his ass off. I'm like, "Yeah, I know." No, so for you jumping into horror, was that like a conscious decision, or was that something that was offered to you, or is that something you always wanted to do?
It was a happy accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just the only experience I had with horror, I think, up before the movie Haunt was Glenn Martin's movie, the American Bigfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, it was just, drama, a lot of drama and, Shakespeare, dorky theater nerd stuff, because that's pretty much me.
Nothing wrong with that.
But I loved horror movies growing up. I loved them all. I was an Elm Street guy. My favorite horror movie is The Thing. But I grew up watching them. I always had a love for them. So it was almost comforting, like when it kind of happened, because I felt so comfortable with it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh man, this beats it's a whole different ball game compared to stage drama or just drama in general. There's it's easier for me to embrace it and have fun. I'm a lot less nervous with horror material because there's like the sky is the limit with it. I mean, you might take shit too far and has to dial it back a little bit. But it's horror. If a comedy's not funny, we tend to dislike it. Like you tend to kind of hate it. If a movie that wins Best Picture is really a boring ass film and you can't understand why it won Best Picture, I tend to not like it, right? But if a horror movie's bad, you still have a decent time.
Right.
Even if it's shit, well, this movie sucks, but I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. Some of my favorite.
I'm even like there's maybe a handful of movies. I've seen a million horror movies. There's maybe a handful that I took off that I didn't finish, that I didn't find something about it that I liked. And having gotten involved in the genre, I've grown a lot. I'm not as harsh a critic as I was back in the day, because once I think it was before I ever assumed I could really get footing in there, and then you see it from the other side and you realize just how damn difficult it really is.
Yeah.
And some things just happen because they happen. Every now and again you get lightning in a bottle. But to go back to the original question, it was a happy accident, and I've always been really kind of comfortable with it.
Nice. Well, that's awesome. And you're still doing the stage acting and stuff?
Not as much this past year or two. I had another child.
Yeah, that's right.
It's,
Congratulations.
This guy. Thank you. Thank
How many are
you.
you up to now?
What's that?
How many are you up to now?
This is the fourth and final contribution to
Dan, you can finally catch up, Dan.
the human race.
Yeah. Yeah.
I apologize ahead of time. No, they're good. They're just they're a lot of attention. They're all at ages that require different kinds of attention, like 9, 5, almost 3, and then 8 months.
Oh,
so each one of them's a whole separate catalog of insanity. Mm-hmm.
The good thing is there's probably a lot of good amount of hand-me-downs. The youngest one is going to be wearing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She'll be set for a while.
Yeah.
Both of them actually. I'm not stupid. I keep all that shit.
Yeah.
I keep all of that.
Rightfully so. Yeah. So we actually do have to wrap up. So I want to make sure everyone's able to give where people can follow and find out what's going on with you guys. But because I've mispronounced her name so much, I'm going to start with Chanda.
Chanda.
Yes, you got it. That's right.
First time for everything. All right. Yes. So where can people go to follow you and to find out what's going on in with your career, and where fans can check out your stuff?
Absolutely. I am on Facebook. My name is right here, Chanda Rawlings, Chanda. I'm on Facebook. I am on Instagram. My name on there is Spot of Sunshine. Of course, you can check out my IMDb and see what films I am up to, as well as making sure that you guys go on and like the Facebook page and the Instagram for Deadly Endings. And there's a lot more to come with this. So I'm super excited about it. And I hope you guys are just as excited, because it's going to be absolutely amazing.
I'm excited about it. So, yeah. So, Jeff, what about yourself? Where can people go to follow you?
You can follow me. I have a Facebook page as well. You can search me up here. So the pronunciation of my last name, if people want to know, it's Descoteaux. So like North Dakota, South Dakota. But take the.
I was 3 years old.
I was right. That's what I'd been guessing this whole time.
Although,
I was 3 years old.
Okay, good. I never wanted to say it without. So good.
I call them Descoteaux.
So Damien Buffet actually nicknamed me Disco Ball, and that's stuck. I think ever since the Time's Up days. So, you can Instagram. I have Jeff Dakota 1, and I am also on we call it X now, I guess. And Jeff Dakota as well on X, Twitter, whatever. I mean, please
Jeff Dakota on
go,
X.
follow. Does that sound kind of steamy?
Sounds like a drug, maybe.
Photos.
You on some
Follow me on
ecstasy? Yeah.
I'm still very
Follow
jealous of
me
the
on
Cosmic Pain hat. I'm gonna have to steal that from you at some point in my life. And because I want to wrap it up with Richard, the director of the hour. But so Dan, what about yourself? I know obviously you're all over Instagram, you're all over Facebook, you're everywhere. What about you?
So much.
Yeah.
So you can just follow me, Daniel John Kearney on Instagram under DJK_horror historian. Check me out, please. Projects going on. We have this amazing project. I'm also producing with my dear friend Mark Cantu Grind, and then we're also doing Play Next in the fall. And just so many amazing things happening. And you can also find me on Facebook at Daniel John. And thank you for all of the support, and follow Deadly Endings, because I'm telling you, you are going to love this movie.
Yes, I will. I promise. So, Richard, what about yourself? Where can people follow you?
Please follow Deadly
Instagram.
Endings.
It's actual Richard Diesel Harlost. It's kind of a joke my friends did, so it kind of stuck on there. On Facebook, it's just Richard Diesel. On the Facebook page and the Instagram for Deadly Endings, it's Deadly Endings Movie. So that should maybe I think there's a band or something out there called Deadly Endings. So just make sure you put the movie, otherwise that band is going to be very popular.
We don't want that. We don't want to support musicians. Chaney, what about yourself? I just realized I skipped over you completely. I was going to wrap up with Richard, and I'm like, wait a minute.
It's all right. It's pretty much. I mean, it's pretty much the exact same as everybody else.
I know, but still,
you can see me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twixer, and if for some reason people can't find me there, I'm probably at their mom's house.
Oh,
no, just kidding. Be sure to if they could like and follow the Deadly Endings movie page. That'd be awesome, because as a horror fan, and kind of like Dan, not a huge anthology guy, but it doesn't feel that way to me. And if horror is their thing, man, this is follow it, because I don't think it's going to let anybody down.
There you go. And Life is Pain is asking who did the artwork that's on the poster. He said it's awesome.
Yeah, what was his name? Dan?
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Dan referred me to this gentleman.
His name's Fuis. He's in South America. He's a wonderful, wonderful artist. He also does comic book. And if you want to find him, just go on our IMDb. He's credited on there under Pui's Calderaza. And he's excellent. And he'll be fully credited on everything. Yeah. He'll love the work. So reach out to him.
Nice.
He's wonderful. He's wonderful.
Nice. So there you go. Yeah. Hit him up. And also Amy, well, first off, Josh was saying this was awesome. Can't wait to see the film. Come together. Love y'all. Amy is saying pleasure chatting with you, indie horror junkies. Good night. And Angel, who would have been on here, but he's got things with his family. His son is taking wrestling classes, so who doesn't want that? Hey everyone, y'all look beautiful as always. I'm late, but excited to see this. There you go. So Tony, what about yourself? Where can people follow you?
You can find me on Tony Has Nine Fingers on YouTube, where I do movie reviews, unboxings, anything movie related. Be on there. Tony Has Nine Fingers on X, which I hardly ever use, but I still somehow say it. Tony Has Nine Fingers on TikTok, which is my fastest growing, the one social media I use the most. I'm on the road for 25,000 followers. I'm almost there. I'm going to try to get it by the end of the year.
That's working. All it's working.
All the twerking. Tony's Movies on Instagram, where I show off the movies behind me. And of course, here on the Wicked Horror Show, most Tuesdays, whether we have awesome guests or it's just, a horror movie chat, check us out. I'd say check us out the live version. But if you don't want to do that, you can always listen to us every day if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can just listen to it over and over again.
Same episode.
Yeah.
Kevin.
Just A Knuckle on Instagram. Besides doing the show with the lovely Tony Has Nine Fingers, I also am part of That Strange Show, which is also on the Dorkening Podcast Network. And I'm also part of the Re-Education of Nancy Ann Ritter, which is me, my friend Jeremy are educating Nancy Ann Ritter from the original movie Scream about iconic horror movies because she doesn't know anything about them. She's in a relationship with what's his face there from Halloween, Tony Moran. She's dating Tony Moran, and she's at these conventions all the time. She knows nothing about the people she's surrounded by. So we're educating her on these movies. And so now she knows who these people are. She's getting to know people like Felissa and stuff like that. So it's working. Yeah. So that's fun. So that's that. Thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate it as always. I can't wait to see it. And I can't wait to see everything you guys got coming up. And till next time, have a good holiday, you guys.
You as well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, man.
Bye.